Salve Omnes, and welcome back to the channel. As of the 6th of August 2020, the Core Combat update became live in For Honor. It aimed to improve consistency of offense, reduce the frustrations of light spam, and lower damage across the board. And that last point about damage feels something like this for a few of us. Needless to say, you don't have to look too far across Reddit and YouTube before you'll find concerns about the changes made. This video will be me sharing my findings during testing and my opinions relating to a few issues that the Core Combat update has brought. I am aware that the developers have confirmed that there is a patch coming on August 13th. Some of my findings will be addressed by the patch, but very few. The upcoming patch will not fix the issues the game has now. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to assume that you're familiar with the Core Combat update and what changes were made regarding frame advantage and the lowering of damage. The main thing to understand is that damage was mainly standardized to a criteria as opposed to generally lowered. For example, 800 millisecond neutral heavies are 29 damage and 400 millisecond attacks are 9 damage. This seems to be a rule across most of the characters. Also, there are some instances where the rules on frame advantage are unclear. The video will be split into the following sections: questionable frame advantage, moves that are now dead, just why Ubisoft, and the misunderstanding and humiliation of Peacekeeper. Let's start with frame advantage. Shigoki is a character without a second light. As such, if he were to only use light attacks repeatedly, he would remain at frame advantage. So if you were a player unable to deal with light attacks before, nothing has changed for you here. You can dodge the lights, but if your character of choice has no dodge attack, then Shigoki can always headbutt you on your dodge to protect himself. On the flip side, a fully charged heavy from Shigoki counts as a chain finisher. However, Shigoki is left at frame disadvantage. When using uncharged heavies, however, the frame advantage behaves as it should, with Shigoki at plus frames. Let's take a look at Warmonger. Her light follow-up after an uncharged bash leaves her at frame advantage, despite it being the only light finisher she has access to. Warmonger's frame advantage here is so prevalent that if you attempt to use a heavy attack after the stab, you would end up trading with your opponent. For the sake of being thorough, your frame advantage here means that your zone attack comes out first as well. In a nutshell, it's always Warmonger's turn to attack, so you better learn to respect her recoveries. Please keep in mind that for the sake of brevity I haven't tested everyone yet, and that I will only be including a few of the most egregious examples. Now let's move on to moves that have been murdered. Lawbringer's dedicated light parry punish, known as Blind Justice, deals 27 damage total if you use the light follow-up. Or, you could simply delay your top heavy slightly to get 32 damage at less stamina cost. You also will have just started your chain too, as opposed to ending it, leaving you at frame advantage. There is no reason you ever need to use Blind Justice anymore, making it a dead move. Valkyrie's shoulder pin deals 1 direct damage and 20 bleed. Her top light is still confirmed against reflex guard heroes and side attacks that she pins. The top light follow-up deals 9 damage, so 30 damage in total, with 20 of that being bleed damage that ticks down over time. Because of Valkyrie's dodge possessing superior block, she can confirm a guard break as well as her shoulder pin. Guard breaks confirm a heavy for 29 damage. So the question becomes, what's more useful? A potential 30 damage, with some of that damage being dealt over time, or 29 damage being dealt instantly with the potential of an execution. I think it's safe to say that shoulder pin is now a dead move. Now I'm just going to go over a few things that just baffle me. I understand why Tiandi's ability to confirm a palm strike after a superior tiger dodge was removed. It was a good change, as the player has already initiated a punish by this point. So why is it that Warden can still confirm a top light after crushing counter-strike? The principle is exactly the same, but it gets removed from one hero and left on another. It doesn't make any sense to me. Pay close attention to Nush's light finisher here. From the top and right it deals 10 damage. Quick interjection here while the clip plays. Nush's deflex now does 20 damage, down from 40, but it can still be blocked and parried. I tested it but forgot to record the footage. Anyway, light finishers from top and the right deal 10 damage, but the left light finisher deals 13 damage. This is addressed in the patch notes, however it refers to them as out of lock lights dealing that damage, so I'm not sure if the patch will fix her in-lock chain lights too. Something to watch out for. Why does Conqueror's Allguard Riposte deal 15 damage? In the first testing grounds it did 16 damage, which was way too low. You then increased the damage for the second week. Now we're even lower than in week 1. Why are we nerfing a core punish in his kit? He still can't feint, so needs the Allguard. And don't give me he can't feint because physics. We have a monkey man who can teleport in this game. But at least Conk Main got a damage buff on your 900 millisecond same side light that you've only ever done by accident, so I guess it's not all bad. Okay, it's time to look at Peacekeeper now. First things first, Peacekeeper's neutral side heavies are 800 milliseconds, so they deal 29 damage as dictated by the ridiculous standardization. However, the fun part is that PK gets some of that damage from bleed, so must use Deep Gouge. At this point it's a known issue and has been noted in the patch notes to be fixed on August the 13th, you can simply unlock and throw a neutral heavy to get the full 29 damage. Peacekeeper's dagger cancel counts as a light finisher for her, so she's at frame disadvantage. Whilst I understand this, PK was already a hero without much flow and a lot of stop and start, so Peacekeeper players, you're going to have to be more patient than ever and wait your turn. The real kick in the teeth here though is that on block it's at disadvantage too. Peacekeeper can't force reactions with her dagger cancel, so this is a part of her kit that is considerably weaker as every attempt is very risky for her. Thankfully, Deep Gouge, despite using a light input, is treated as a heavy finisher. This means that she is at frame advantage should she use Deep Gouge on her opponent. This works for either dodge attacks or regular heavies. Peacekeeper's zone attack got slowed down to 500 milliseconds. A good change. It's still a light attack though. Peacekeeper is the only hero in the game to have a light attack zone that's on par with other zone attack speeds. You better make sure you stop option selecting, because it got a lot easier to parry her now. This is a massive and unacceptable oversight. You can also enjoy using up over half your stamina by dagger cancelling from a zone attack. Just remember that if you hit or you get blocked, you're at frame disadvantage. You eat a heavy attack when you're parried, and since recoveries on whiff were not adjusted, your zone basically lost most of its function. Perhaps the most notorious and bizarre change is Peacekeeper's side dodge attacks dealing 5 damage. They do a total of 16 with bleed damage, whereas Peacekeeper's forward dodge attack deals 18 damage up to a total of 29. I'm aware that pre-patch, Peacekeeper had high damage dodge attacks when factoring in her bleed. But this is flat out the wrong way to adjust her values. 18 damage may be nice on paper for a forward dodge attack, but the ugly truth is that Peacekeeper isn't likely to land that in a fight, as it's painfully easy to defend against. 5 damage for a side dodge attack is actually sickening. Peacekeeper will struggle to get executions now, an issue she faced in the past. Perks like Devourer and Headhunter could be wasted on her, and even bad perks like Crush Them and Early Reaper got even worse for her. The feat Fear itself is percentage based, making that weak as well. Honestly, does that look fair? At all? Peacekeeper's deflect now deals 8 direct damage and 12 bleed for a total of 20. It used to deal 20 direct and 15 bleed. Was this playtested? 8 damage? I understand that the developer's intention for Peacekeeper is to kill with bleed. Here's the truth about bleed damage though. It is inferior to direct damage, and its main function is to make chip damage lethal, something Peacekeeper should have given her enhanced lights on bleeding targets, except that she has no damage as chip damage is percentage based. PK's base damage is so low that no one need fear her. She already had nothing to do in a gank, but now all her feeble hits will feed revenge instead of killing opponents. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it took her 2 or 3 hits just to kill a minion. If you want to nerf Peacekeeper's damage to be fair, nerf her bleed, not her direct damage. Instead of 10 bleed, make it 5. Instead of 12, make it 6. She will still benefit from her target's bleeding, and the duration doesn't need to change, but as she is now, she's a cruel joke. She's misunderstood and designed with misguided intentions, and overall, the most humiliated character in For Honor. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Please understand that I only want what is best for this game, and I believe that given the right time, and if they listen to the right people, the devs can make For Honor a greater game. The sad reality at the moment is that its clear corners were cut, and some characters just weren't given the respect they deserve. I'm grateful we got the chance to do the testing grounds and give feedback, but there seems to be some ignorance on that part, or at least that's how it feels. I criticise because I care, and I want the game to be the best it can be, but at the moment it's a little disheartening to have the community test the game properly and iron out the creases. I hope this video is received well, and that the developers don't misunderstand my intentions and the problems get fixed. The devs have done a great job given the world's current situation, but we need to rally with the intent to improve and repair the game we all love, and try not to let the frustration and anger boil over. Thanks for watching the video. Ciao for now.